Okay, once you got your Unreal open, just open up whatever version you're wanting to use. I'm going to be using 5.5.1. Launch that up. All right, now let's go to games. Pick what type of thing you're wanting. For this, I'd like to use an interaction system. I just always enjoy using an interaction system a lot more. So we're going to kind of build a really quick one while we're doing this. And I'm just going to name this door underscore YT for me for YouTube. All right, and we're gonna hit create. I don't think I said it, but make sure to have starter content checked because we are going to be using the door and the door frame from that. All right, once that's all loaded up, what am I doing? Okay, we're gonna go to our open up our content drawer, right click on content, new folder, name it underscore main. The reason we do this is it puts the main folder at the top of the list here. I'm gonna open this up, make a new folder, blueprints. Inside of here, new folder, interaction, another new folder, doors. Just keep your stuff separated and in nice modular little boxes and makes things easier. All right, so let's go ahead and do the interaction really quick because that's insanely fast. We're just going to right click inside of the interaction folder, go to blueprint interface, and name it BPI underscore interact or interaction. Yeah, let's do interaction. And open that up. Mine's on the other screen. Let me bring that over. There we go. All right. So you notice it's already got a function ready for us with the name thing blinking so we can rename it. If yours is clicked off, what you can do is just make sure, select it, press F2, or you can also right click and do rename, either way. And we're just going to do on interact. Now, this is going to be a very, very, very simple door. So if you're looking for something a little bit more in depth on how to do doors, let me know in the comments below and I'll make a video on that as well. Maybe something that you can detect which side the door is being opened from through interaction, through like a line trace, and then you can make it swing the opposite way. Whatever, we can do all that. I do always like to pass through the actor that is trying to interact, so we have a reference to it. I like to call this interacting actor. All right, compile, save that, and for right now, that's all we really need. If you want, like, I do this so that you have the beginnings of an interaction component, or sorry, interface. That way you can really go a lot further with it. You can add a butt ton of stuff into this. You can have on end interact. You can pass through a lot of information basically without ever having to know a specific actor or get into like casting it or anything like that. So it's just much cheaper. All right, so we're gonna go back to, well, you know what? Let's go to the first person character. Let's go to blueprints here. And you know what? We might even bring in a third person character. I might show you guys how to do a third person character as well. But let's do this really quick. Actually, yeah, let's do both. Let's show a first person character really fast. And so what we would do in this is we would go to the inputs here. And we're going to make a new input. So we're going to go to actions. And I'm just going to right click in here. Input action. And just call this IA interact. Okay. Then I can go back to our input folder and we're going to get our IMC default. Open that up, expand the mappings, add a new one, find our interact, expand it, click, and then press the button we want. Make sure, click that, make it yellow, then press the button that you want to be your interact button. Okay. So you know what? Let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to get content here. And at the top, I'm just going to do add feature or content pack. And I'm going to add third person. Add project. There we go. There's our third person. I'll close that. Close that. And I'm gonna do like this. So here's our third person all the way down here. We can do the same thing just so you get quick. Yeah, let's just do it again. So we'll go to actions here. I'm gonna right click, input, and actually I just remembered I did the other one wrong, a little bit wrong. I'll show you what to fix here in a second. I interact. Let's open it up this time. Add in triggers. Pressed. Okay. Save. Now we're gonna go back to the input folder. IMC default. Same thing we did a second ago. Add it in. Interact. Add our button. E. And real quick, I'm going to go back to, and if you know what folder you want to, or what thing the folder is in that you want, like I know my other interact thingy is over here. I can click this, and that'll open up my first person one, and I can go to actions here, reopen my, where was it, interact. Let's just add that triggers pressed, and there again, save all. I am going to close all the things to the right, so all I have open is the first person character blueprint, and then I'm going to right click IA_interact. So this is going to be for our first person character on how it does interactions, and we're going to do from the first person camera. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to do a line trace by channel. A lot of this we're just going to copy paste because we're going to do this again in the third person character, but we're going to change out some stuff like the camera and whatnot. So off of started, I'm going to get the world location from our first person character, or camera, not character. Plug that into start. Okay. Then I'm going to just give us some space here. I'm going to get our first person camera again. I'm going to get the forward vector. So which way is it facing? Right? Which way is forward? Anyways. And then I can take this and we can multiply it by a float. And this will give us our distance. So we can say like maybe 500. So basically from the first person camera's location, go forward certain distance, right? And in order to do that, we need to add these together and plug that into end. Okay, then I'm gonna hold B and left click to get a branch, plug that into the return value there, basically saying if we hit something, right, then we're gonna break this guy open, the hit result, expand it, and we're gonna find out if the hit actor does implement interface, and the interface we want is the interact, or the interaction, BPI interaction interface. Hold B left click to get a branch, plug that in, plug that into the true over there, and there we go. So if I can go ahead and close that, we don't need it. There we go. If the line trace that we're doing hits an actor that has the interaction interface on it, then we're going to pull off this hit actor and we're going to on interact with it. Or to basically tell it, hey, whatever your on interact event is, do it. And who's telling you to do that? Who's the interacting actor? Well, it is ourself, right? And we can literally grab all of this, even up to these two. We're not going to grab the camera itself, but we can do copy off of that. I'm going to save, and I'm going to go open up my third person character. And over here, same idea. We're going to get that IA interact. And I'm going to paste this guy in, plug it into our started. Now we need somewhere to get a location from and a forward vector. And if we could do it off of the mesh itself, we could say, oh, hey, the mesh, get wherever it is and all that. But the problem with doing that, so if I select the mesh here, you'll notice that the pivot point of the mesh is at the floor, and we don't really want to be doing a line trace across the floor. So I'm going to go back up here, select self. We're going to get a scene. And then I can put this scene exactly where I want my interaction. So I'm going to bring it up to about the chest height, slightly. So that's 20 on the X and 50 on the Z. And then I can just hit F2, rename this, maybe our interact underscore scene. Okay, and then we can compile, save that, come back over here. And a little trick, what we can do is we can put this on top of here and let go. And it didn't work, so never mind, my trick doesn't work. Okay, well, that's where that used to work. All right, let's bring this out into the level, or into the blueprint, and plug it into where the mesh was plugged in at. There we go. All right, so now whenever we press the button, it's going to go from our interact scene forward and hit something, and if it hits something, it's going to return if that actor gives us the BPI interaction, and if it does, we're going to interact with it. So let's do that really quick. Come in here. I'm actually going to move the gun, and we're going to go back up here, main, blueprints, doors. I'm going to make a new blueprint class, type actor, called BP underscore door. I'm going to open this up, the class settings, go to implemented interfaces, add our BPI interaction. Okay, compile, save, and then over here we're going to add new static mesh, and this is going to be our door frame. And then we're going to do self again and add another static mesh, and that is going to be our door. That'll be the actual SM underscore door here. Now we do have to do some work to that really quick, to SM underscore door, but I'm going to drag it into place right about there. And let me actually turn off the snapping up here for movement, and we put that exactly where we want it. All right, so there's an issue here where, and actually I can show this to you. Let's go back to the first person character, sorry. And let's do draw debug type, and we're going to say for duration. I'm going to compile, save. And then I'm going to bring our door out here. Now you're going to notice when I press, I think it was E, got that red line, and it never hits. It never hits anything. So you'll notice if I press E on this cube here, it hits it. We don't get any return because it's not an interactable object, but it hits something, right? That's blocking that trace channel. Sorry, I couldn't think of it. And this, our door itself, is not blocking anything at all. But if I do it on the door frame, it is. Huh. All right, so how do we make it do it on the door? Because we definitely want it on the door. I mean, door frame is kind of fine, but we also want it on the door itself. What I can do is go to my BP door here, find my SM underscore door, click the folder with the magnifying glass on it. I'm going to double click on SM door here to open it up. And we're going to scroll down. And first we're going to check that it has block all on it. And our collision complexity is project default, which is all what we want right now. Then I'm going to come over here to show, and we're going to see the simple collision. And we see nothing. That is because our door has no collision whatsoever. Another fast way of being able to tell it has no collision is you'll notice that our remove collision option here is missing. So what we can do is just add a box simplified collision. And if you want, you can scale this down a little bit. Maybe you don't want it to be so thick. Hold on, let's turn off the scale snapping, scale it down. There we go. Save. Go ahead and hit save all. And now I should be able to just close this and then come over here and press F, or sorry, not F, E, whatever my interact key is. And now you see that it's actually hitting that. It's turning green. Cool. If we want to take it even a step further, we can, if it passes all these checks, we can then do a print string. Go. And then just plug in this pink to here and we'll get the display name. And press E, bam, up there in the top left hand corner, we have the BP door. Cool. Get rid of that, we don't need it. So back over here on our BP door, we are now sending information to it like, hey, we want you to interact, but the door itself doesn't have an interact event yet. I mean, it does, but it's not implemented. So what we can do is double click on it. That'll implement it into our thing, or we can also right click and it would have had an implement option if it was not already implemented. But so when we try to interact with the door, we can tell to do something. So even over here, we can then print and we can get, let's see, we'll just get a reference to ourself. Put this in here and we'll get that display name again. Remember, we took it off the first person character, so the only reason it should print is if it's coming through. So F or E, what, I keep forgetting what the button was. E. And there we go. Yeah, it's saying BP door. We're seeing the hit. Cool. All right, let's move on. So whenever it does hit, we want to do some stuff. We want to find out. Actually, we don't really want to find out anything. Here, we want to actually on begin play. Let me move all this. Just gonna bring this down. We want to find out where the door is and where we want it to go. So we could make a sliding door, which I know this should be a rotating door, but we could make a sliding door. If you want, that's pretty easy. We could, we'll do both. We're going to make a sliding door option and we're going to make a rotating door option. So for that, really quick, in my variables, I'm going to put is rotator. So is it a rotating door, right? And I'm going to make the instance editable and expose on spawn. Compile, save. And so we need to start getting the ideas of like, if it is a rotator, how far do we want it to rotate? Well, in here we can grab it. I'm going to rename the static mesh 1 to door and the static mesh here to door frame, so that it's a little bit more easily understood. All right, so with our door selected, we can press E to get our rotation, and we can just kind of rotate here and say, oh, maybe about 95. Maybe we want to rotate 95. Or maybe we want to rotate like negative 95. I think negative 95 would be pretty good. And that is on, looks like it's on the Z there. So you can look over here and see what's rotating or what's moving, what number. And so that's on the Z. So we set negative 95. So for the rotation route, so what we can do is pull this out. We can, if you can hear the train in the background, I'm sorry. Is rotator. If it is, then we can do a add timeline here. Name this rotate door and tell it to play. And so on update, what we can do, actually, let's go ahead and open this up. And another thing, I'm going to hit F2 on it and I'm going to rename it rotate door underscore TL just so I know when I see it over here in my components that is the timeline. All right, but I'm going to open this up. I'm going to set my length down to 1, add a track, add a float track, call this time or alpha or whatever you want. I'm going to right click inside of here, add a curve, do it again, add another curve, select that first curve, call it, or set the time to 0 and the value to 0. And the second curve, or keyframe, I should say, time to 1 and the value to 1. We can hit these two arrows to zoom it vertically and horizontally. We can see both of them. Drag and select, right click on one of them and set to auto. So we get a nice smooth transition. Pile save. We can literally take this guy, copy and paste it because we're going to be needing it in a second. I'm going to rename it and call it door slide underscore TL. And just leave that down here for a second. All right, so we need to find out if we should be playing or reversing, right? And we don't know which one yet. So what we can do is we can make another boolean here and we could say is open. Okay. And if the door is open, go ahead and do this, plug it in. If the door is open, then we are going to want, so actually we want to say, is the door not open? So, because I want to go through the true on this. So I'm going to pull off of here, is open, and we're going to say not. Type in bool for boolean. So if the door is not open, then we're going to open it. So we're going to play. If it's is open, then we're going to reverse or close the door. Something we need to do prior to this, and we might even do this a little bit earlier than here, so we don't have to do it once. Okay, so we pull this out and we can say is moving, and I'm going to hold B and left click to get a branch, and we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna do is not boolean, is not moving, just so we can go through the true. I like to keep everything going through the true. If we are not moving, then we can check to see, okay, what kind of door is it? And then if it's the rotator, we can figure out, do we need to open or close it or play reverse, however you want to look at that. And then we actually need to play or reverse it, right? So in order to do that, we're gonna grab our door, and this is our rotator. So we're going to set the world rotation, right? Update. And we don't want it to just snap to this new rotation, because we could just say negative 95, and then as soon as it happens, it'll snap to that rotation. I can probably look at that really fast to make sure that not moving, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that should probably work. So I can come over here, press the button, and it did not work. So what would have happened here? If the door is not open, is open is false. Is rotated was also false. So I'm gonna set the true really fast by default, and then we're gonna press E, and it just snapped open. We don't like that. We want it to be pretty, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull off this rotation, and we are going to lerp this rotator based off of this time. So our time can go into the alpha, and we need to rotate it from its rotation right now, which we know that our rotation here is actually 0, 0, 0. So we can just leave that A being the same. And then we might actually need to do source path. I'm not sure. We'll check that out here in a second. But then we need to go to the actual rotation that we're wanting. So this, I would say right click, promote it to a variable, and call it the open rotation, right? And then we can compile really fast so that we can set our Z on there to negative 95 or whatever it is we're wanting. We can even make that instance editable and exposed on spawn. So if we're spawning the door or just editing it in the world, we have access to it. So over here, boom, we have is rotator and is, and the rotation settings there set up for it. Cool. All right, let's go back into our thing here. And so now this should open decently smooth for us. So I can walk over, press E, and it opens nice and smooth. But it does not close. It's open forever now. Oh, and we can't walk through our door. I just thought about that. So what I'm actually going to do here for the door, I'm going to take the door frame and I'm going to cheat a little bit, and we're just going to remove the collision on it for right now. No collision on the door frame. And now whenever we open the door, we'll walk through it. The door frame's collision was messing with us. Actually, here, I will show you guys. You know what? Let's just hit this to go back to normal. And I'm going to go to our door frame, and we're going to set up its collision. So hit the little magnifying glass here, open that up, show its collision. It's got decent collision. Actually, I don't want to mess with that too much. The problem, I think, is we have a really fat capsule here. So I'm going to go into my first person character here, and I'm actually going to take our capsule radius and set it to about 35. Now it's up to you guys on how you want your collision and all that, but you can either turn the collision off on it, or you can set the collision small enough to fit through it, and 35 looks like it can fit, and see, we can still collide with it if we want to, and we can walk through. So I like that better. All right, so we want the door, so go back to the door. We'll go ahead and save all. We want it to be able to close as well. And so what I'm thinking is, if we need to actually do another thing. I keep missing little things. So whenever we go to do this, right before this, we're going to set is actually, we only have to do it once, because you need to find places to do stuff where you're only really doing it once, or only when needed, really. So we're going to set our is moving to true. And then whenever this guy finishes right here, we can set our is moving to false. Then we also need to set our is open to be the opposite of what it already is. So I'm gonna grab our is open, I'm gonna hold Alt, drag it out, that'll give us a set. And then I can pull off of here and say not Boolean. So we're gonna say, if this is true, then we want to make it false. If it's false, then we want to make it true. So this will do the opposite of whatever it's currently set to. And maybe we want to have a little bit of a delay, actually, before we allow the player to open the door again. So what we can do for that is our is moving. We can delay for maybe 1 second. Probably not even that long. Probably just do like half a second, 0.5. All right, then we should be able to press our thing and then wait a second, press it again, and it closes, opens, closes. Beautiful, right? And since I don't like it opening towards me, I can literally come over here, say 95 instead. Maybe it opens that way instead. And like I said, later on, we can do a dynamic one where we can figure out which side your line trace is coming from and be able to close it. So there is a rotating door. Well, now let's do, I'm going to take all this and I can unselect that because I don't need that. I'm just going to press C for comment. And this is our rotating door. All right, well, what if we want it to slide, right? That's going to take a little bit of other stuff, but basically the same ideas. We still want to check if the door is open, so we literally just grab all this, copy, paste. There we go. And if the door is open, then we want to play. If the door is closed, then we want to close, right? So then we're going to do the same idea where we're rotating it, but we're going to, instead of having it just snap, we're going to lerp and all that good stuff. So here we're going to grab our door and we're going to say set world location. Remember, we don't want it to snap to it. So if I was to just set it to something like, actually, we don't even want to set world, my bad. We want to set relative location. We could have done that with the rotation as well. I think I set world on this one. This actually would have worked the same as if we had done relative, I'm pretty sure anyways. We can test that in a second, but I mean, we're only moving at 95, so yeah, it should work perfectly fine. But for this, we definitely want to do relative location because we don't know the world location. We can put the door 1,000 places, so it's better to do it relative to the actor instead of relative to the entire world. All right, so we are going to pull off of here and we're going to lerp this as well, lerp vector. We're going to plug in our alpha at the time here so that basically, and if I didn't explain this earlier, I don't think I did. When we came into this and we set up our float and it goes from 0 to 1, think of 0 as being closed, 1 being open, right? So if I go back to my event graph here, this is going to go, when we're playing forward, is going to go from 0 to 1. So we're going to go from A to B, open to close. if that makes sense. And whenever we reverse, we're going to go from B to A. And however long this takes will be how long it takes for us to go from A to B or B to A, respectively. So we need to find out what is the closed position, which we know is 0. Actually, no, it's not 0, 0, 0 in this case, is it? We look at this, where it's actually 46.3, blah, 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 but it's stuff that we don't have to remember. So what we could do is actually, I can just right click on this really fast. We can say closed position or POS. You adults out there, I know you're thinking what I mean when I say POS. It's not what I mean when I'm saying POS, you crazy people. All right. And then for our closed, or sorry, our B, we can get our open position. So again, promote it and we'll say open POS for position. Thank you. All right. And then back at our begin play, the whole reason I got this out a second ago was so that we can get our door, get its relative location, and then we can hold Alt and get our closed position, drag it out, plug it in. I'm sorry if you guys can hear the heater and everything. Hopefully it's bearable in the video. Yeah, we got the relative position and we're setting this as our closed position because that is our starting position, which is closed, right? So then we want to know how far should we go? We want to go on the, looks like the Y here. So we're going to add some distance. We know we want it to go this way because we want it to kind of maybe stop at the door handle or something. I know this doesn't make a lot of sense, but you get the idea. How to slide this door, right? So if it's wherever we're starting it off at, we want it to go a certain distance to the left here on the Y. And that's in the positive direction because we can see that number is going up instead of down whenever we're moving it left. All right. So we take our closed position and we can add, and I'm going to make here a distance. I want to make a float. I don't know why it's doing double precision only. It's weird. Whatever. Doesn't really matter. Oh, because I'm dumb. Hold on. Let's go ahead and convert that back to a vector. We're gonna do make vector here. Actually, no, we'll just leave it like this. It's even easier. We're just gonna promote this to open location. Open to location, maybe. No, maybe open distance. Open distance. Oh yeah, I like that better. And we're gonna make this instance editable, expose on spawn. Now, if you don't ever want to spawn this, you don't have to do expose on spawn. But I kind of just do it on purpose all the time. I don't know why. But if you want to make it instance editable only, so you can edit it in the editor, edit it in the editor per instance, then you would do this. I just do both. All right, so I'm gonna compile here, and I'm gonna set the default value like 25. And so this is going to be our closed position, which was already like 43 plus 25. So we're gonna end up being somewhere around what, like 80? It isn't math. 77-ish. All right, not maths. A little bit. All right, and that we will set as our open position. Okay, plug all that in. I'll save. Let me make sure we got everything going the way I want it to. Yeah, so now we kind of have to set up our is open, blah, 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 blah. So we just copy this guy, paste it. So anytime you see yourself copy pasting entire lines like this, what you can do is just make a custom event, and we can call this reset door, right? And then we can just take this, cut, paste, plug it in there, and so that even there our delay is only being set once, I can pull off of here on the finish. We can say reset door, copy, paste, and our finished up here, reset door. So really quick recap on interact. If we're not moving, we are going to set ourselves to moving directly after. And the reason we do that is so that basically we can't spam it, because as soon as it's like, oh, hey, you're not moving, cool, now you're moving. It's stopping the spam from happening at all, because this is literally happening within easily a frame of each other, right? So then we're going to find out, is it a rotator? If it's not, then it must be a sliding door. So we're going to come down here. Is it open? And we're going to figure out which way to go with it, open or close. And then we're going to move it from closed to open, or open to closed respectively, right? To its new relative location. That relative location was figured out by taking our open position and adding the open distance. Our open distance in this case was on the Y, because that's the direction we want to move, is on the Y. And yeah, and then we reset the door and make it to where we can open it again or close it again and tell it that it's no longer moving. Cool. Let's see if that works. I'll walk over here. Oh wait, I forgot to set it to not rotating, so I'm gonna click that off because it's no longer a rotator. Press E, and now it slides open, not far enough, obviously. So very easily, I can either change it here or I can change it somewhere else. This is at 75. But if I had multiple doors, you'd want to actually change it here so that it's per instance. And there we go. 75 actually works out beautifully. But, and what I mean by per instance here is I can duplicate this door, and I can say maybe this one only opens 10. Or actually, you know what? Maybe it opens negative 75. So it opens the other way, which really doesn't make any sense in this case. But you know what? Press E, and it slides that way. This one slides this way. It's beautiful. And now I can walk through my door. Nice. It's great. And that, in 40 minutes, sorry, is how to make a door open and close. So really quick, if you want to stick around, if you're done, if that's all you needed, cool. See you later. See you next time. If you want to stick around for a second, I did have somebody asking in the comments of another video how to make a door open. Well, it depends or how to have a blueprint open something else, like open a door. They were using the Simon puzzle, which I'm not going to recreate the entire Simon puzzle to show that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make inside of our door thing, so I can let the door here, right click, browse the asset, here it is. I'm going to make a door button, so I'm going to make that a new actor, and we'll call it just BP door button, and we're going to open that up. All right, I know this is a really long video, but it'll work out. I'm just going to throw a cube in here, and I'm going to scale it down. This is going to be our door button. There we go. It's the most beautiful door button you've ever seen, and you know it. All right. So I'm going to go to my class settings here. I'm going to say interact. Now, if you're wanting something else to open the door, you need to make sure that in your actual door, if you have an interact script here, you need to make sure that that is not the character. So you could cast, or I could just say, yeah, we'll cast. But instead of casting to the first person or third person character, which I need to show you guys if the actual third person character thing actually worked, but we'll do that in a second. Instead of casting to that specific character, I could just say cast to pawn, because maybe I don't want pawns to be able to open the door. And actually, so we do if cast failed. So if that interacting actor is a pawn, don't open it. But if it's not a pawn, so this fails, then we can open it, right? And so now in my button here, I can, with our interaction here, we can do the same thing. And you notice we're using an interaction thing totally different this time. So it's not just for opening the door, we can also use it for pressing this button, which then opens the door. So I guess vicariously still does the same thing, but interaction interfaces work for anything you want to interact with. So now we have the interaction thing. We know that's going to be coming from the player, but it's not going to be coming from anything else because nothing else is capable of interacting with this thing. But what we can do is we can add on here a new variable. I'm going to make it of type actor. And real quick, I know this is me preaching a little bit, but we could do the door, right? We could say, oh, hey, of type door. But if I compile here really fast and I go to my asset and we go to size map, when we look at the size map, now for some reason this door button has in memory, actually we'll go to memory here, in memory, the SM door and the M door, door frame, all these materials and stuff. It doesn't need that. It doesn't need to know the materials of it or anything like that, right? So why do that? If we just do of type actor, we don't care about its materials or anything like that, right? Then, and don't get me wrong, in an interaction script, you can still pull that type of information from stuff if you really, really wanted to. It's not hard. I can show you that in another video. But we want it to just be of type actor, because now if I compile save and I go here to my size map, it's just self. It's just a cube. That's the only thing that's in here. 7.6 megabytes. Right? Or not even megabytes. I'm drawing a blank here. But yeah, you get the idea. It's tiny. Tiny. And it only has to do with itself. That's it. And the interaction interface, which is 9.9 kilobytes. Who cares? Right? It's tiny. All right. So with our new variable here, which we'll rename in a second, I'm going to right click. That'll make it an array, or you can come over here and select array, however you want to do it. I'm going to F2 on that, and we're going to say doors. This is the door button, so it's going to be interacting with doors. Make that instance editable, and can't parse default. None property doors. I don't know what you mean. I don't care. I'm just going to compile it again. All right, so with our doors, we are going to, anytime we get interacted with, we're just going to come over here and we're going to say for each, I'm going to press F and left click. For each of these doors in this array, we're going to pull off of here and say interact, or on interact with the message. And the interacting actor is ourself again, which is not a pawn. So whenever the door gets the code, or the interact code from it, it's going to say, oh, hey, you're not a pawn. You can pass through and you can do all the stuff we just did. Let's show that in action. I'm just going to put our door button right there. Press play. I can look at it. Press E. And nothing will happen because I screwed something up. So when that happens, what we can do is go to our door button here. I'm just going to print really, really fast. Hello. Hello. Cool. Oh, it's because our doors are empty, right? So in here, in the level, with the door button selected, we're going to add two things to our array. We're going to hit the little dropper. Click on that one, dropper, click on that one, hit play, press E, and our doors open. And now you'll notice I can't close them. I'm clicking all over this thing and it's like, nope, you're a pawn, go away. And then I press E again on this, it closes the doors. That is literally how easy it is to just talk to something else. It doesn't have to be through like an interact interface. We could have, here, we'll do it like this. We could have very easily said that whenever this gets interacted with or whatever, maybe it's an overlap, we can, let's just say this is an overlap. We can cast, actually, yeah, we can get our doors here. We can cast to wait, yeah, my bad. Off the for each here. I'm just gonna remove this for a second. Cast to BP door. And again, you don't want to cast, and I'll show you why in a second. But you could. It's always better to use interfaces, in my opinion. And I think it's the on interact. Yeah, on interact. Then we can tell it that the interacting actor. No, that's not what I wanted. On. Here, we'll just use this one. So imagine this was something that the other script had, like a function or something. Actually, I could just write it over there really fast. Custom event move door. I'll just plug that in there. Okay. And then our door button can call that custom event move door, which seems so much easier, and it is. It really is. We can just tell it to open the door, and remember we've unhooked our interact thingy. That's no longer there. It's very, very easy. I can just walk over, still press my interact key. It opens, it closes, right? Cool. But again, if we go to asset here, size map, now we're referencing all that door crap again. Which, but these are both really small scripts. Doesn't really matter, right? But it does build up in your game. So if you get in the habit of building this stuff through interfaces and whatnot, and soft references instead of hard references across the board, you are going to be much better off. If you guys ever want, I can walk you guys through that in another tutorial on why that is. Just put in the comments below, hey, we really want to see a tutorial on how to do this on a large scale across a whole bunch of different things, and why they do it, stuff like that. Let me know. I'll do a video on that. But again, best way of doing this, we pull up here, and we're going to on interact, message it, and this is literally, it's not even coming from the player this time. That's something that I've had a lot of people ask questions about. Is, well, I mean, I would use interact, or I'd use interfaces more often, but that's just the player. What if I need a button to do something, or what if I need? Yeah, guys, you can use these interfaces between blueprints. They don't have to be between the player or not. I do want to test our third person character really fast. In order to do that, we just switch our game mode here. Actually, we could switch the game mode, or I can switch the default pawn class, and we can just set it to our third person character. Hit play. It should work. Now when I hit F, which that's probably going to be too high. But the problem is with the character, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I can't really aim with it. It's in the direction I'm looking. So if I press, let's quickly go to our third person character and let me fix that. Whatever issue is going on here. Let's first of all do a print here. Maybe this is the wrong interact. I didn't think about that earlier. And see, we're not getting anything. So I'm betting if I go back out here and we go back to our scroll down, get rid of starter content, third person character, input, actions, and I call this, instead of IA interact, I go IA, maybe TP for third person interact. And I go back to my input folder here, DMC or IMC default. It is giving me the third person interact there, so we got the correct one there. But when I come here, still IA interact. That's the wrong one. What we want then is IA TP interact. There we go. Let me get rid of that hello because we're not going to need it. Hit the started here, plug it in. We just basically got the wrong interact thing. Now I could have at begin play, we could have just switched it out for the other IMC default from the first person character, and it would have worked just fine, but it's a tutorial, who cares. All right, I'm gonna press E, which I guess is my button. Press E again, they close, and so I'm not doing the actual debug draw of the lines, but you can at least see it. You'll notice that it's not based off of my camera for this one. It's completely based off of which way the character is facing. So that's another way of doing line trace for interactions. There you guys go. It's a 51-minute long video. I'll try and cut it down a little bit, but it's probably not going to work out. So sorry, but yeah, if you guys liked this video or found it interesting or want me to shut up about this type of stuff, then like, comment, and subscribe, because that will totally make me shut up somehow. Promise. I'm not lying. I swear. All right. I'll see you guys later.